Back again, people. Welcome back to the channel. This is LFC Plavi, and I'm here to do my season review for the defense of Liverpool's team. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start with an overall assessment of the defense as a whole, the number of goals we conceded, the ways in which we conceded the goals, the role of the defense in building our attacks, and after that, I'll go into the various subsets of the defense and look at the goalkeepers. I'll look at the center backs, right backs, and I'll finish off with the leg backs. So stay with me, sit back and enjoy, and like, subscribe, comment down below, and share if you can. So let's get into it. In terms of the overall assessment of the defense for Liverpool this past season, 2024-25 season, my assessment is going to be mainly based on the Premier League. And what I would say is that for the defense, I think we started very well in terms of keeping clean sheets at the beginning of the season. I think in the first half or in the first quarter of the season, we kept a lot of clean sheets. But at some point towards the middle of the season, towards the end of the season as well, we started conceding a lot more goals, even though we were scoring more than the opponent on most occasions. So I think that was something that worried me a bit, that we couldn't really keep the clean sheet going. I'm also an FPL player, so when I select players from Liverpool, I usually back our defense to keep clean sheets and also to get attacking returns. So it was quite disappointing for me that we couldn't keep a lot of the clean sheets. That is something that I think Arne Slot will be aware of, and he will be desperate to get that rectified for next season. So now let's get into the various departments. I'll start with the goalkeepers. So I'll start with Alisson Becker. Alisson started the season, got injured, missed I think about 6 or 7 games, and came back into the team. So I think for Alisson, we all know his quality. He was always, as always, what we expected him to be: strong in terms of making saves. His one-on-one duels was always one of the best that you can ever get in the world. In terms of building from the back, I think Arne Slot asks quite a lot from goalkeepers when it comes to getting involved in the build-up play, and he kind of did very well. I can't remember any incidences where he struggled to help the team build from the back. So I think that he was an important part of Liverpool winning the league, especially at the beginning and after he came back from his injury. Let's move on to Kelleher now. Now, Kelleher came in for, I think, about 2 months, where he played about 10 or 8 Premier League games. I think he got a couple of Carabao Cup games in there as well. At the beginning, I think he struggled a bit when he first came into the team after Alisson had just got his injury. He conceded maybe 1 or 2 goals that we expected him to do better, and he probably expected himself to do better in those situations. But I think after those 2 or 3 goals he conceded, he really came back strong, and we saw the Kelleher that we know already at Liverpool. His build-up play, I think, compared to Alisson, I actually do think that Kelleher has much more confidence on the ball, and he's much better with his feet. In terms of making saves and preventing the opponent from scoring, Alisson is the best. But I think building from the back, I don't think we have a better goalkeeper than Kelleher. So I really like his build-up play. I like the way he passes the ball, the confidence with which he does it, and the fact that he's able to make the right choice in terms of whether he wants to go long, whether he wants to go short, or whether he wants to go medium range with his passing. He most often gets it right. The third goalkeeper, Vitesslav Jaros. I want to give him a shout because I really did like what I saw from him when he came in for, I think, 2 games. I think one was the Carabao Cup game, the other one was a Premier League game. Right, the Carabao Cup, I think he started from the bench or something. So he really did well. I I admire particularly his footwork, his ability to pass the ball from the back, and I did really enjoy his confidence. He played with a lot of confidence for a goalkeeper who doesn't play a lot. I think he really did well in those 2 games. Of course, that is not a large enough sample that we can go off or judge him, but I did see good signs, which I think bodes well for him. When I look at the centre backs, of course, the mainstays were Virgil van Dijk, Konate. With Virgil van Dijk, we all know what to expect from him, and he didn't disappoint this season. He was the best defender in the world again this season. Konate, on the other hand, I think he started the season quite shaky, because in the first game of the season, it appeared that Slot favored Kwanzaa instead of Konate for some reason. Konate did well in the season. He got a couple of important goals, one in the Champions League against AC Milan. He also got one against Wolves. But in that Wolves game, at the same time, he also gave away a goal, a chip goal that he shouldn't have. So that all adds up to what I said earlier about the kind of goals we considered at the beginning of the season. I think most of the goals were either mistakes from us, our defense, particularly Konate or Van Dijk. Robertson as well was culpable in some of the mistakes, or very hard chances that the opponent just was able to put away. So those are chances that you can't really do much about. So that is for centre backs, Virgil and Konate. Kwanzaa, on the other hand, I think when I look at Kwanzaa's season in full, what I think is that he appeared to be struggling a bit because of the way Slot demands his back line or central defenders to help with the build-up play. So I think he saw a lot more of the ball than he normally does, or he normally did under Klopp, because Klopp's system is more direct. So he didn't have a lot of responsibility in terms of helping the team progress the ball. So at times, for a young player, you might be too caught up in trying to build from the back. And I think in some cases, he couldn't really make up his mind as to whether to go long or to go short or to drive with the ball. So he was caught up in 2 minds. But I think he will improve. I don't think Liverpool sell Kwanzaa. The next one is Joe Gomez. I think Joe Gomez, his season got seriously hampered by injuries. Had it not been the injuries, I think we would have seen him a bit more throughout the season, especially at right back when we had injuries to Trent and Conor Bradley. So at times we kind of struggled in that position because we didn't have Gomez to fill in whenever we needed him. And also even at centre back, at times I think Konate was a bit tired and we needed some fresh legs in that defense. But because Gomez was injured, we couldn't really rotate in that position. Left back, we had Robertson and Tsimikas. I'll start with Robertson. I think Robertson had an okay season. It wasn't an exceptional season. I wouldn't also classify it as a poor season because he did well in bits in terms of attacking. He also did well in bits in terms of defending, but also he was found in the wrong place at the wrong time in many occasions, which led to either a red card or a goal. I also do think that the reason why he struggled this season is because of the way Slot plays. The system kind of demanded him to be in more defensive positions than he was used to. So it resulted in him getting involved or getting in the crosshairs of the opponent's chances or certain dangerous situations. So I think that is what led to him making those errors. Robertson had an okay season, not too good, not too bad. Tsimikas, on the other hand, I think the coach tried to use Tsimikas not necessarily as a backup, but he tried to balance the way he used both players, so that we couldn't really see who was the starter and who was the backup. But I think that the rotation at the left back, I was a bit more impressed of that sort of rotation than I was with how the rotation was done in other positions. I'll come to that in later videos. But for the left back, I think Simikas had an okay season as well. In fact, for me, I always say this: if you are a defender or a left back, sometimes the best thing you have to do is to not get talked about. You don't have to be seen. Don't do anything to let us see you. Usually, when the game ends and nobody is talking about you for a left back, you've done your job, right? In most cases, if we are talking too much about you as a left back, I think that in most cases it means you haven't done your job well. Right back, I'll talk of Trent and Conor Bradley. So at right back, Trent this season, I think, experienced a huge change in his game, his positioning, his range of pass and the kind of choices that he made. I think at the beginning of the season, I realized one thing. It appeared that Slot wasn't too happy with the way Trent played, where when he gets the ball, especially when Liverpool are under pressure and we win the ball back from the opponent in a defensive third. The fact that Trent is always used to playing the ball forward, taking risk from that position, that deep position, I think Slot wasn't happy with that. So at times you could see that he was a bit frustrated on the sidelines when Trent tried to play that risky pass after we had immediately won the ball. So I think that was something that Slot tried to limit from his game. And I think that kind of affected him a bit in terms of how free he was in terms of moving the ball forward and playing the passes that he's used to. Aside that, his positioning also changed quite a bit. He inverted in only a few games, maybe one or two games throughout the season. For the most part of the season, he was staying wide. He was providing width and trying to control the game from a deep lying position on the right side. But in games where we were behind, when Liverpool needed a goal, he took a lot more risk. An example is the game against Brentford away, when he gave the assist to Darwin Núñez to score the first goal of that game in the 90th minute. So he took risk when needed, but I think Slot really managed him in terms of his positioning and his movement throughout the season. Conor Bradley, on the other hand, I think he had a good season. He was hampered a lot by injuries, but in the games where he was fit to play, he was exceptional, as he was even last season under Klopp. I think one of his main attributes or his main strength is deep runs. When he's able to time his runs very well. He's almost always spot on in terms of when to start or initiate the deep run, either to underlap Salah or overlap Salah. As Slot said in one of his interviews, deep runs is one of the most important things in football. If you really want to break down the opposition and disrupt their formation and their structure, you need deep runs from both your midfielders and your defenders. And I think Conor Bradley did that very, very well. So that is my season review for Liverpool's defense for the 2024-25 season. I'll come with the next video, which is going to be on the midfield for Liverpool. Thank you, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let me know your thoughts on Liverpool's season, and in particular, whether you agree with me or not on these players that I've reviewed. See ya.